Hey guys, CG Inferno here today, and today's review is for Trails Through Daybreak 2. So I want to say a quick thank you for Nis America and Reef Entertainment for providing me a code. Today's review will mainly be talking about story, bit of gameplay, music, and my final thoughts. So it'll be not too long, but not too short either. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. So for the story for Daybreak 2 is something quite interesting, honestly. It essentially takes place like a few months after the initial first game. And essentially Red Crimson Beast has come around the capital and just slaughtering everyone. And Van and Co are pretty much trying to figure out who it is and stuff, because apparently it has the 8th Genesis, which is what they didn't recover at the end of the first game. I won't go too much into the whole story, but essentially this is where I would say Falcon did not really cook that well. And you know, it's a hard one because I've played this one back when it came out in JP in 2022, which is quite some time ago now when you think about it. And when I finished it then, my story was like my impression wasn't as great. I didn't mind it too much, but I definitely saw that there was some hiccups here and there and it could have been a lot better. And now playing it again in English, honestly, I feel my rating for the game's kind of gone down a bit more from like initially, which is a shame because Daybreak 1 was really good. Like it set the tone for like what Calvert's gonna be doing and stuff. And then Daybreak 2, it literally, I would say, it stagnated the story quite a bit until like I would say certain parts of the game, because I felt some parts were just, I wouldn't even say story, they just felt like side quest more or less. So yeah, this one definitely a bit of a hit and miss for me. I know it was not well received from everyone. Like this is the game where I think people would either love it or they will hate it, and not like super hate, but they'll be like, yeah, I'll play it once and never come back to it again, which is unfortunate. I'm not too sure what happened with this one or where they're trying to go, but yeah, it didn't hit that well for me. Like some parts, yeah, obviously they're interesting, but other parts it just felt like, why was it even there? Like the main issue for me mainly was a thing called dead ends in the game. So if you played the demo, which I would assume most people have played already, there's a point in time where you rewind after dying to the red Grendel, like at the start of the game in the prologue, and you basically get another choice. Now in the game there's like quite a bit of them, and some of them honestly was not needed. Some of them were good, they added to like the story a bit, others not so much. It was just like, why? But yeah, that was a shame. But in terms of story, yeah, it wasn't too great, it wasn't too bad, it was just like in between. But yeah, they definitely didn't cook with that. Now in terms of side questing is still the same. Nothing too serious, nothing really changed from much of it. So they do add a bit to the story to an extent, but you know, it's you don't really want to do it, you don't need to, but I highly advise doing it because you do actually get some decent stuff out of it. The one new addition to the game though is fishing, which was missing in the first game, which is honestly a bit shocking considering like how much people enjoyed fishing, myself included. So fishing in this game is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's not as tedious as like other games. I think Cold Steel is probably like the most tedious one for me, but yeah, it is there. You do have your C ranks, your B ranks, and then your A ranks, which you can get in certain places in certain parts of the story as well. I did actually do all the fishing this time compared to when I played it in JP, which was quite different honestly. But yeah, I almost missed one fish by accident. So when you are, or if you're trying to go for all the fishes, I'll probably just suggest looking for a guide and just following that so that you don't miss anything. But yeah, the overall story or main story, yeah, could have been better. But with that being said, there is also I wouldn't really say new feature or new addition to the game. It's similar to like Reverie. So you essentially have to call, was it the Market Garden, which essentially is like the tower that you used to climb up in Cold Steel 2 ending, more or less, and Reverie as well. This one is not as bad. It's pretty simple. You have like a fair amount of floor, I think like 9 floors initially, and then with the DLC it's like an extra 5, 6. It goes up to like floor 17. That one in itself doesn't have too much of a story towards it, but it does serve a purpose, and it kind of does lead on to essentially I wouldn't even say true ending, but essentially the teaser for the next game as well. But yeah, that place in itself is pretty fun. You can use any characters that you've gathered throughout the story, create some nice combinations, beat up some enemies, grab some nice items. You can enhance your character's crafts as well with the items that you find there. Yeah, it's a pretty nice place to go and farm as well. So yeah, nothing too serious, pretty standard for the most part. But yeah, in terms of like the whole story, yeah, oh man, that one there that one there is going to be like a talk for a lot of the people that are playing it for the first time. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Now in terms of gameplay, it's still the same from Daybreak 1. Nothing has really changed. It's just that some stuff have been adjusted in terms of like balancing. Some new arts have been added into the game. One which is probably one of the best arts in the game, but also the most broken art in, I don't know, I wouldn't even say like Trails history, but it is so busted, man. It literally, once you get it, I think the earliest you can get it is if you hit rank, is it C or B? I think it's C. If you rank C early enough, you can get it, and then you just slap it onto like your arts build user, and yeah, you can just coast through the game pretty much. Another addition is the EX chain. So essentially, when an enemy is stunned, if you use one S boost next to a ally, you can basically do slightly more damage as well. Like they'll do like an attack, and you can still do a bit more damage. So it is quite nice. Another change is that S-crafts you cannot spam anymore. I think they realized from the first game how busted it is, because certain builds in the first game you'll essentially get a lot of CP back, no questions asked. Like Fairy was pretty much like a CP magnet for me back then. You can kind of do it in this game, but yeah, it's probably not worth it. Like in this game, I think I didn't even use 100 S-crafts until like post game pretty much. That's how it wasn't needed that much. Like arts will do a lot for you, and the crafts as well. But yeah, it's still the same from the original, more or less, just some few added features and some balance changes here and there. It's only in the next game where they actually, I want to say change up a bit, but they've added in a bit more stuff from there, but I will not talk about that until it actually comes out. Now, in terms of the music in Daybreak 2, honestly, it's probably not the greatest. There are a few tracks that I enjoyed, but for the most part, not all of them were, you know, hitting the same as like Daybreak 1 or previous titles as well, which is a shame, because it seems to be like an ongoing trend for the most part. I would say probably after like Cold Steel 2, so it kind of went downhill a bit. I mean, Cold Steel 3 definitely had a few bangers, don't get me wrong. 4 had some good ones as well. Not the greatest, but not the worst. And then, yeah, Reverie was pretty decent. Daybreak 1 was pretty good. This one, not so much. But yeah, I mean, for me, music is, I wouldn't say like a defining thing for the game, but it definitely could have been a bit better in most parts. But yeah, you know, you can get by it. It's not the worst, but yeah, I think a few people will probably hear it and be like, no, it's not hitting the same as like previous games as well. So hopefully going forward, I know I've already played the next installment already, but like whenever they do another one, I do hope that they actually like put some banger musics in there from like start to finish. Now, with all that being said and done, Daybreak 2 is still one to play, but it's definitely one where once you finish it, you probably will not go back to it unless you really want to go and do a platinum trophy for it. Honestly, me, one and done's more than enough. Even me at this point in time, I feel like I'm semi burnt out on like Kiseki, and I think it's because I literally finished the sequel like not too long ago. Now, I don't know, man. Daybreak 2, it just didn't hit the same as the first one. The first one was really good. This one, not so much. And you know, hopefully you think that Falcon would actually like say, okay, we can't really be fucking it up this much, you know, because you are pretty much coming to the end of the series in general, and I do know they want to wrap it up, but they shouldn't really rush it out, because this one, it definitely felt rushed in some areas. There's some unnecessary padding, too many dead ends, and the music wasn't as great as previous entries as well. So with that being said, if you're a Kiseki fan, I mean, you're still going to want to play it at some point just for the story. Or if you really don't want to, you can always just watch it on YouTube pretty much. But yeah, it's not the greatest of entries, honestly. Like, it could have been a lot better, and it should have, but honestly it just felt like I was playing like a few extra chapters of Daybreak 1. Now this one, it did not really move the story that much, especially at the start. Honestly, the start, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what more I could really say. Like, the start wasn't bad per se, but it really just felt like I was playing Daybreak 1 all over again. Like, it wasn't like anything too serious. I don't expect it to be coming out guns blazing all the time, but you know, it could be better. Like, see, me, I don't even know what to say, because it's just out there. It's like one of those games where you don't know really what you want to say. Like, you still enjoyed it, but at the same time you hated it as well. So yeah, as for recommendations, honestly, I mean, you don't have to get it straight away. I would say just wait for a sale if you can. But yeah, it's definitely one of the weaker ones in terms of like the ones that are out already for Calvard. So Daybreak 1, this, and High, as it's called in JP, right? This is definitely the bottom one. Now, in terms of the whole series, yeah, it's probably down below there, you know. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know, you guys just gonna have to get through it. I've went through it. So yeah, it's all in good faith though, because at the end of the day, the next one that's coming out is probably like one of the most, or probably one of the best ones that I've played in a while in terms of like story, and mainly because that actually pushes the story really far, you know, and it gives a lot of answers. Obviously there's still answers to be told, but yeah, it's really good for the story and gameplay as well, and music. So yeah, hopefully Nis America actually announces it on the release day for Daybreak 2, like they done with this for when Daybreak 1 literally just came out. That would be very nice. Now, would it come out this year? Honestly, I would have said yes, but the fact that Sky is actually coming out in the fall, I do not think they want to put two of them together. But I could be completely wrong. Who knows? They might even just release it early next year as well again. But yeah, this has been CG Inferno. If you've enjoyed the review, please leave a comment down below. If you've got any questions about the game itself, you can also leave that down in the comments below as well. You know, I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this game when you've played it, or if you've played it already from the JP release as well. But yeah, again, thank you Nis America and Reef for sending me a code, and I will see you guys later.